left off on this attack half in Abyss. As the desk mentioned, everybody just doing a little bit of experimentation, that clove roll getting passed around Winthrop Shopify to whoever feels like they can best manage that facilitating role. It's clear Moobs thinks he can continue that fragging that he was getting done quite a bit on Split. But that being said, Marks, my eyes are still on these Yorus. Is Eggster going to be able to still be that consistent frontliner that's been dominating? And can Infiltrator level up the way he did in the tail end of the 2 maps that he's played very well on this duelist role?
Genuinely speaking, coming into this series, I think that there's just so many questions on the Winthrop Shopify side of things. I like how the desk highlighted, every single time we think we know what we're getting, then there's a sudden change up. And honestly, they raise a good point here. Obviously, Jazzy on that chamber, popping on ISO, and then of course, Extra still on Yoru. There is a lot of fragging potential coming through from NV FlyQuest. But then on the Winthrop Shopify side, my mind goes back to day number 1, where, Infiltrator on the jet that time went up, had a pretty crazy knife kill, and then immediately just kind of floated off the map. So I'm a little bit concerned. However, I do think that there is a bit to kind of poke at here and really take a look at, specifically Moobs and Infiltrator on their respective roles, because to me, this looks like they're going right back into what Winthrop University had previously prepared for the Ascension tournament. Moobs was kind of on that perma chamber role, always just kind of playing those long sight lines, willing to take the duels, surprising people with how accurate that sniper rifle was. Well, Infiltrator still the tip of the spear, and we're seeing Infiltrator lean right back in to the more subdued duelist gameplay, the one that plays with the team a little bit more, isn't just kind of full sending it down there. And it was pretty successful for Winthrop University to secure a 4th place spot in Ascension. So I'm curious to see how this whole thing is going to be shaken out, but it will be Winthrop Shopify starting us out on this defense, while NV FlyQuest look to attack yet again.
With Extra being the only flasher as well, it's going to be even more so a case of 0 to 110 for these pushes. Not many windows of opportunity for NV FlyQuest to overwhelm themselves, but there is the first. The decoy will force the TP back and the sight to NVFQ. Governor not able to go toe-to-toe in that opening duel against Thea either, who is directing everything from afar.
Spike goes down, but it still will be a 5v5. Governor, though, very low HP, does have a recon bolt available.
That Vaughn looks deadly from this angle, but Poppin's gonna forego it, wait for Moobs to go for the walk-up, and the barrel revealed. Moobs still turns to it, almost deals with Jazzy too, but she's quick with it, and she can turn on to the rest of this push from the back site. Still the flash in from Alexis gives SRG and Winthrop a whole lot of space to work with, and now Infiltrator can start working that on his own. Thea, finally with the wrap back, has the gravity well to prevent the half spike, but still, they're walking it down, and Infiltrator with his distraction dance eventually finalizes the blow. Winthropify, strike first.
And that's what I was talking about when it comes down to Winthropify's strategy playing off of Infiltrator, right? Like, I just highlighted how that shift in duelist mentality is something that we know that Infiltrator has the reps on. And once again, we're treated to just that. It's not there's just a full send, going to the back line, play greedy for kills. It's instead just take an off angle, play off of the information that you're kind of given, and make sure that you not only play your life, but play a bit of distraction for the other team to try and pull their fire over to allow the rest of the snowball to come through. And once again, a lot of people underestimate Moobs here on the chamber, but if you do that, then Moobs can walk away with so much. And so NV FlyQuest have to be at least aware of that, especially with NV knowing that this is the composition they play into.
A lot of tools to keep these first points of contact from entering, but Infiltrator can just spin the block a little bit and grab a quick 2-piece with the help of the recon dart. The Governor's set up, and now he'll get in the action too. The swarm's here, the fight's done, and the round is unquestionably Winthropify's. So, just great response time so far. With the double flash you have available, it seems like Moobs is more than willing to kind of just run it down a little bit harder despite being on that less mobile chamber, and thus everybody feels a little more active, everybody feels a little more mobile, everyone can move around a tiny bit more on one of the biggest maps in the game.
And yeah, and Infiltrator's getting so much support, this time just playing off the one-way perfectly. And as soon as he decides to kind of back off, the rest of the team is there. It's nice, clean, and simple, which honestly I think is Winthrop Shopify's biggest strength. Once to kind of calm down those kind of rambunctious plays of just kind of running things down, I think there's a lot to really like about it. Alexis gets a big piece of information here. That's the Sova and the Yoru. You know what's happening.
You know exactly how they respond to it as well. Alexis able to just stand her ground, grab a quick freebie, and now the rest of Winthrop can try and stay silent on the reapproach, but the Nebulas are the obvious thing to watch, and Poppin and Exter are watching. Daunch. Still slightly lower health pool. That can be gobbled up here by something like an outlaw. That ISO shield, though, so deadly in rounds like this against the double shot. Bonus looking tidy here. And indeed, 3K for the ISO poppin'. Starting to enjoy this agent a little too much.
I mean, hey, moving into VCT, right? Envy, they're not going to have Kane Zero anymore. And Bopin's like, hey, I want to give this car a spin for a bit. But at the same time, like, that shield is getting immense value. I think there were 3 individual opportunities where we see a player from Winthrop Shopify get the jump onto Poppin and just crack the shield, and Poppin's able to find the kill in the midst of all of it. And so the shield really just paying off dividends to allow just for that little bit of extra breathing room to make sure that Poppin stays alive. And in the midst of all of that chaos too, that's going to be 4 hostiles detected. Okay, right now you know exactly where NVFQ are headed.
Destabilizing.
Very telegraphed here. Winthrop Shopify ready for the read. Double drones to distract, but Infiltrator watches past it all and takes care of Exter. Now Moobs has the angle from the books with his own operator. And Winthrop trying to go for an open audience. Infiltrator with this dimensional drift trying to confirm the early fight so that they can't get any farther forward. And now there's that conventional fight. Let Moobs get active, let Infiltrator get inside. It's that bread and unflavored butter combo that, like you said, Winthrop Shopify can continue running with without it getting too salty.
And it's one of those moments, right, where you got to wonder kind of what the call was to put Moobs on this chamber. Obviously, Dodonut has been having a little bit of a quieter series thus far, but at the same time, like, you know, Moobs is very solid when it comes to the sniper rifle play, and just really showcasing it that time around, kind of playing off the information that Infiltrator was given. Moobs as sharp as ever, and it's that dynamic duo that really gets to showcase itself yet again. Winthrop Shopify find yet another round here. NVFQ, bit of a scattered by, all rifles except for Theonly, just with the Sheriff. But all of them except for Jazzy, only with those half shields. So a bit of an opportunity here for Winthrop Shopify to really break their economy if they're able to find this round win.
Seems like Exter's remaining pretty content with just using the decoy as an extra body to walk onto the site for the intimidation factor.
Spike planted.
Not much pack fight enabling he's been able to do with it, which is what he loves doing with the decoy. So I understand why he would rather just use that for a quick pre-plant, set himself up for the fragging that he's been doing so well off of himself. He doesn't have any flashes, though, so he's sort of just got to be a body. Oh, it doesn't matter.
It's you and me.
He's going to keep going. He's going to keep going. Oh. He's got 3. Are you joking? Unbelievable. He's got the 4th, too. He's firing at it.
I was gonna say, the fact that Exter kind of just finagles his way up there, and then they're just completely catching everybody off guard. And honestly, that's something that we have seen Exter do multiple times with it, Yoru, just in the perfect place at the right time. Just walking through, catching everybody by surprise. And then, of course, too, the ISO ult just yoinking Donut out in the midst of it. And sure, Exter gets that credit for the final kill, but it could have gone any other way. That is a huge round coming in from NVFQ to bring us closer and closer together. And this time it's the Winthrop Shopify economy that gets broken as Moobs goes for the 2 to force. It's going to be only Infiltrator buying up a rifle here. Those are going to be the 2 linchpins of this round. If they're able to find value with those weapons, then there is a chance here. But the dimensional drift from Exter should give the information that the site is nice, open, and clear.
Yeah, Q on this is usually go, go, go. If there's no one here, Recon Bolt is in time, so you've got to kind of sequence it. But again, a lot of the playstyle is just not caring. Metal into the shock dart actually does a hell of a lot of damage, though, so you've got to remain a little vigilant. And Ev with that Hunter's Fury from a distance is going to set up the Heaven Swing so that you can't really fight it out. But Moobs on this TDF is the most undeterred of all, and he's going to keep walking it down. Extra's got to just kind of stay and police that. So rest of NVFQ in a little bit of a chokehold at the moment in the Heaven Swing, and everybody from Winthropify is holding their angles. They can now go for their own approach, and Moobs all the while is staying more active with his Headhunter now that he's got those extra steps he can take. Jazzy in the 1v3, there goes Dodo, but Moobs has that sniper back online, and Winthropify back in the driver's seat. It's 4-2.
Man, it was one of those things I was like, oh, look at these 2 rifles. That's what's going to be important. Nah, not the case at all. Obviously, the 2 to 4's got to rate it above. You can tell a little bit of fear on the side of FlyQuest. But in those chaotic moments, exactly like you said, it's really just the patience that works out here. I love the idea from Ev to try and take that Hunter's Fury, but it really, once again, is just Winthrop Shopify dig their heels into the ground. Kind of in the midst of that chaos, you see FlyQuest try and take some timings, and instead they just walk into pistol crosshairs. The Thrifty coming through for Winthropify. Once again, they take that lead 4-2 now. Gonna be an operator in the hands of Jazzy here, trying to make things a little bit more difficult because Moobs will not have that rifle this time. Just opts for a Vandal instead. All of middle is given up to the attackers. That doesn't mean that nobody is watching these angles if they decide to aggress forwards.
Well, they've read that there's got to be the 3 here now, knowing that Jazzy's approached it, knowing that Poppin's now fighting in it, knowing that Extra already had to leave it. But Moobs watches 2! Standing on business again on this chamber for chamber, and Extra's got to give it the old college try against the college kid. Infiltrator, it's a different student that's turned in his assignment on time. And that is the push. That is the gas. You have checks for everything else now. Oh, that's ahead, Alexis. Yipes. All good, though. We're chilling.
Oh.
All right.
Well, Thea's able to at least find one. Didn't know you could spot out ahead there just by kind of standing that little bit of a
30
divot.
seconds left.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a different tech. All you ranked players watching, keep that in mind.
3 stars up, and no one's watching immediacy, so she can wait to stick that. Set up shop after plant, why not?
Planted.
Oh,
Shock dart, nice catch by Gov. Spin this quick, herd out, and it's Moobs again. Shift walking his way to that 3K. And a 3-round gap now created on the defense here on Abyss.
once again, one of the biggest X factors is Moobs. You don't expect Moobs to be that good on the chamber, but it's just been continually impressing me with how he has just so good map control on the actual site and knows just when to play those timings, and then when gets that operator in hand, can be so deadly, so sharp. And yeah, a little bit of uncomfortability coming through from NVFQ on some of those moments. The Winthrop Shopify duos just kind of hanging off, playing off of each other, making sure that they know what they're doing. And this is a very different look from this team. A lot of question marks entering into this one, but it has looked really good from them thus far.
Just great management of all of the ideas that have been gone for here. Feels like the pack fight is all that Flyv can consistently try to enable, and if you stop those openers from getting the space that can allow for those pack fights to start, then the job is so much easier. See Jazzy already so much more terrified on these chamber lurks. Like, she can't consistently find openings on the window or the hallway, so you see her having to go down mid more often, and if she's going to be holding that operator, which more often than not on those lurks she is, then you have to have a supporting system there. So a tad bit more committal to non-objective parts of the map compared to other games here for NVFQ.
This time.
And it's definitely a tempo shift that they can manage, but it's also one that Winthrop University and Shopify have more time to telegraph and counteract.
And at the same time, like, I wonder if this is just simply because of, you know, how they're setting themselves up exactly like they rehearsed for Ascension. Tour Force now going to be online for Jazzy. And Governor spray through finds Exter.
Yeah, exactly what you'd expect from the approach like that. You're going to lose some scraps along the way. NVFQ want to just close in the fight and make what they can work. Ev finding one with the help of Poppin's firing as the smoke dissipates. And you can recondense, contract once again, try to take what space you're controlling already. And Alexis, with the help of the flash, can retake most of it on her lonesome. While that ulti's down, Moobs and Karn can deal with the rest. 4 will technically stay standing after that null command is resuscitated. And Winthrop Shopify have a 6-2 lead on this defense. Proactive or reactive, they're looking clean as can be.
Yeah, and it really feels like they just have a solid game plan coming into these rounds. And you can tell there's a lot more like discipline that a lot of these players are showcasing. You know, things go a little bit weird, let's just back out of that one. It's going to be a recon bolt through the smoke, guaranteeing a kill. A tale as old as time, but a lot of these players just take a step back as soon as the engagements start because NV are always itching to try and move forwards and make that happen. But if they just hold their angles, the Winthropify can make sure to punish every single one of those pushes. This time around, it's going to be a bit of a weird buy coming through on the side of NV but they have to make this one work. Otherwise, their economy gets broken yet again.
Another quick approach. Extra running it down, given his opportunity to get that spotlight back. There's the opener. Dodo not seeing that as the sign to turn just a little bit of tail and go for this popping angle. Temporarily, no. Drone will suss her out, and the spray through trying to find it. Now the ISO shield on the approach. It's now or never for NV in this 5v4, and now Jazzy on her lurk is going to make sure that no one can rotate efficiently to it. It's dominance from NV Lexi's the only one on the board this round, and they will be some restabilization for the attack.
Yeah, and really, it just felt like that time, it's the pressure that's mounting from NV when they decide to go hit those sites. If you don't have room to breathe at all, you can see Winthrop Shopify, when they have a moment when they can take that step back because they can afford it, it works out perfectly for them, right? But then on the other side, as soon as NV just decide to overwhelm them, push right into their spawn, push right into their defenses, don't give them that luxury of having that second to think, then it's just lights out, and NV are able to fly away with the round. 3-6, 3 rounds left in this half. The economy secured for NV here. 2 ultimates available for them, as it will be Jazzy starting us out with the pick on the moves, just off that Cosmic Divide.
That backup off of the rest of the team instead of just mid. It's the full pack fight that Envy was trying to use, and with the Cosmic Divide, this is a total seesaw.
Ooh.
Like a kid cousin just getting catapulted in the playground. Extra steps in, goes for his. Always the off timing on that ultimate. Can get away with a pocket just to make this thing a little bit easier in the post plant. Any more kinks in the armor? There's 2-piece by Ev. Nicely done, but the rest of NVFQ still have the rest of the spacing to make it still look so easy even without their help.
Yeah, and just a different post-plant look coming through from NV Usually a lot of them like to just kind of like I said, just run them down, go into their backline, you know, that spike is down, nice and easy, okay, now let's overwhelm the defenders, but not the case this time. As soon as the spike kind of goes down there, you see them kind of go more into the rattier angles, play the long range battle. You know you've got a lot of space to play off of, make maximum use of it. And that time, that spacing, that time for Winthrop Shopify makes it near impossible. Extra in the dimensional drift. Moves hanging out at the back of the site here. 3 ultimates online though for Winthrop. Could be a good time to use them.
Yeah, a lot you can cycle through here. Moves, quick denial, and yeah, the spike's stuck on the bridge. And that's already thrown into chaos. Lexi dealing with extra as well. He was just gonna run it down and try to make that extra space for the rest of the team to come. But Lexi is not done. She is not finished. Walks it down herself and makes this round trivial for Winthropify. And it'll be a guaranteed lead outside of the half.
Man, there is an imposter among us. Somehow Boobs does not get checked at all on that site. You can't let that happen. And then as a result of that, it's just so easy. And Alexis as well, make sure to just kind of clean up in the midst of all that chaos, in the midst of the push kind of getting, honestly, just the pacing completely throttled. It works out perfectly for Winthrop Shopify here. They decide to take a step forward and still have all those ultimates online. Alexis 1 away from having no command as well. Popping though.
Oh.
Make sure moves can't get away with anything.
That's a tough pocket to try to find, especially when you know the stack was here the very previous round, but they'll go for it anyway. Karn counteracting extra on the quick approach. Now the kill contract to catch in Alexis as she's trying to hold this down. She can at least be taken care of, but the front line's still a problem. Karn dealt with, but they're not dead yet. Lets Infiltrator have his own way with things, and it's a reset on the 2v2. Then both members of Winthropify win! Try again and again, and it's 8-4 on the half.
Yeah, it really feels like once again, they can just kind of step in there, add a little bit of stops in the momentum of NV and then everything starts to get a little bit more fuzzy there, especially when NV are so just ready to take those fights, ready to just engage in, and you're not expecting the level of aggression right off the rip. So great stuff from Shopify to make that happen. Unbelievable flick there.
Yeah, not letting that ult go to waste. That was a nasty one. Fantastic start by both of these teams, but still heading on to match point. Winthropify can't let go for a second. We'll be right back after this break.
My favorite food? Maybe pretzels. Soft pretzels.
I don't know any protein to be honest, but if I had to pick like sushi, I like a lot of sushi. That's like my favorite all time.
Enchiladas verdes.
If I had to choose one food to eat for the rest of my life, probably steak.
Tacos árabes, unos tacos de Puebla.
Low-key, probably spaghetti.
Depends on my mood, but tacos usually. Al pastor with pineapple on top.
My favorite food is chicken tikka masala. Big Indian food fan.
I would say my favorite Mexican dish would be tacos.
Probably quesadillas. Quesadillas are the best, I think.
Chilaquiles rojos.
Ooh, I love quesadillas. I eat a lot of quesadillas. That's probably my favorite Mexican dish.
Está México la pizza hawaiana. No se le está en otros lados.
Probably just a simple taco. I'm just a big fan. It's really simple and easy. I love it.
Ooh, tacos, carne asada, birria.
Eight to 4 on the half, going the way of Winthrop University and Shopify Rebellion as they're trying to take us to Corrode. In this best of 5 grand finals in Monterey, Marks, FlyQuest have continued to run it down, continued to go for these large-scale pack fights, but they're starting to get a little pulled apart, and it's got to be a little more disciplined if they want to stay in this.
And you know what? I'm learning a lot here, watching these two teams go up against each other. But most importantly, I'm learning that actually, baby pineapples on pizza is not hated as much as I thought here.
It's,
a little surprised there.
Everybody here likes it. I feel, I feel really seen. I think it's a good ending, for sure.
Well, at this point, with their Shopify taking the fight very early on here, but trading back and forth, it is going to be actually FlyQuest kind of coming out on top of that initial brawl. Still down to this 2v3. Definitely not impossible with this Moobs Dodo Nut combo, especially as they've got the spike and are now taking all this middle space.
That's a good classic indecision strike on behalf of NVFQ. The fact that merely the fact that Winthrop Shopify have chosen to start on the box on A forces them to choose between whether or not they are ready for that fight that NVFQ want to set up. And the answer is they're not as much as their opponents. 2v3 for the wrap. That being said, it does, again, sacrifice a lot of the rest of the space on the map, which Winthropify are quick to activate upon. So, Moobs and Karn, intimidating in mid, swing back into Jazzy. Maybe don't do that, though, because she's so good right now.
Wow.
Golly, good start on the D.
Yeah, and this is one of those moments, right, where we were talking about how well Jazzy on the chamber was, I believe, on Pearl. Something that just was not really expected from Winthropify to kind of deal with. And we haven't really seen the Jazzy masterclass get put on just quite yet, but especially on this defense, this is what I'm anticipating. We're really going to start to see that chamber shine, because her aim is as sharp as ever, and a great way to continue to slowly pull FlyQuest back into this matchup. 8-4, not an impossible scoreline at that half, and making it 5-8 now makes it a little bit easier, as the buy up on the weaponry here should help make sure that the scoreline slowly closes between these two teams.
Yeah, letting Jazzy just play that tower defense and have Extra be the hyper-mobile player that can kind of flex any reactive play. And apparently engage in the first fight, as Winthropify want to make some noise up mid. Escort Infiltrators Hero Marshal up just a little bit farther to grant some easy angles, but no one's on the first cutoff, so it's got to be the other players that activate. And Jazzy is watching that front line heavily. Moobs all by his lonesome will be the first blood of the round.
Yeah, this gets so much more difficult now. You've lost moves, you've lost kind of that presence on the outside. Poppin trying to take the fight, but Governor actually able to come out on top of that one. And not a bullet actually connected there. So they more or less get that kill for free. Spike now in the back of A site. Could have a bit of unfortunate timing, but we'll be able to get planted.
It's a good chase game that Karn was able to set up, distracts half of what's left of the defense, but at the same time, are you expecting Ev to any degree at all here? Maybe for a second, but not in time. Ev finds the first. Stinger lets Extra get in scot-free and take care of the rest of the crowd. And that'll be all she wrote for this eco. There was a moment where it looked like it was surely possible, where it looked like it was even positionally dominated, but you just run it back down if you're Envy FlyQuest, and that Flyvy grows ever higher up the Tower of Abyss.
Man, I thought the Stinger got nerfed. Not in the hands of Extra, though. Oh, man, that was kind of crazy. But at the same time, like, a bit of an unconventional round kind of coming out there, right? From Envy FlyQuest. Sorry, not Envy FlyQuest, Winthropify, because they got to make something kind of interesting happen here. And, well, it works out perfectly, though, for Envy FlyQuest, because they're able to get themselves circled all the way around. They attacked on all fronts, and especially with that better weaponry, it gets that much easier to make that one happen. And so Envy FlyQuest now just down 2 rounds. They're able to take this map and close out the series, but Winthrop desperately fighting for that map 5.
Oh, Karn already thrown out by the Flash Infiltrator with the trap set up, and it will be Winthropify that comes away with the first trade on the bonus. Expecting things like that to go down when Envy FlyQuest is down. Ev with the second cutoff with the Ghost, no less, and they're going to keep that party going at the very least. With Karn so low, they'll be able to get away with one more. 3v2 so far. A round that Envy FlyQuest can already be kind of proud of, but it would be so cool if Jazzy could get away with a quickie while the rest of the team kind of makes their way back. No, Lexi's gotten wide and is able to manage.
Spike finally getting planted here, Thea. In a 1v3. Might find a timing on a Governor. Will do just that, but now still has to make this one work. Stinger in hand, though.
2 stars, free. Nova Pulse also active, so you can get a free corner up. That's one gone on the Heaven, and he has found Alexis. Forces the corner choke from Moops. That's not all a backside guaranteed. Thea's tucking. Low time. Gun not given away because Moops changed position. Now the Nebula on the spike, and Moops will react. So a bonus taken, but with 1 lone rifle standing. This is already looking like a much more solid half for Envy FlyQuest.
Remember that comment I made about the Stinger being nerfed? I'm not too sure about that anymore.
Thea controlled that, dude. That was amazing. The TTK on that was
crazy. Nuts. Yeah, and then on top of that, too, I thought that was so smart right off the bat. We see Winthropify just bait Donut right at the beginning there, like, hey, tap that orb, and then you see Envy FlyQuest come out, guns ablaze, and ready to do it, and they're not expecting the pressure, the support just alongside to make sure that they can secure those kills. They almost turns it around completely, but this time around, it's going to be the full weaponry coming through from Envy FlyQuest. Jazzykins having the operator in hand, too. Takes that initial shot, can't quite find purchase. And so it will be just a stalemate for the time being as Winthropify get ready outside of A, but look at all the space that Moves has taken on mid too.
Yeah, they've split the diff so quickly, and Moves on that rifle feels a lot more agency individually instead. Poppin doing a little bit of chip on the first approach through main, and unsure of whether or not that Infiltrator push is real, but with nobody behind it, he remarks that it's not. That's the moment for Moves to get his, but Thea is ready and walks into it.
Such an important kill there. You can tell the call got made. Too much utility, too much pressure onto that A site. Got to back out of that one, and immediately, if Moves was able to take that, this would have been a nice, clean, easy, free push. Now they have to do it on this B site at the expense of utility. Donut, though, making some noise. Actually, will pull some of the defenders over here, allowing safe passage from underneath. And yeah, at this point, they know where that spike is going. This is going to be an interesting one. Everybody's spread out throughout the map.
Yeah, Donut's still on the way back, and I mean, NVFQ are going to be keen to the fact that it is that Clove on the way back. Still, it wants to be a full-fledged take back. Exter's decoy, just going to clear the opening space of the house. Recon dart in for the approach. Exter's walking it down. That lets the rest of this team in through, and they're going to do the exact same thing. Envy's 2 men are continuing to 2-man this entire roster. And it lets the rest of the field be easy for Jazzy, Ev, and Thea.
My ult is ready.
Just so scattershot, like immediately out the gate. And it becomes so easy after those first couple walkdowns.
100%. Like going back to this whole playing off that utility mantra that it really feels like Envy FlyQuest are not afraid to do. is, you know, the flash comes through. Okay, you expect 1 or 2 people to pop out of, but instead it's the entire team springing on it as soon as the flash activates. And it's kind of like that overwhelmingness that the NV FlyQuest team is kind of known for. It really catches Winthropify off guard and opens things up. 2 rounds still separating these teams here, as Winthropify brought back down to this weird half-buy. It's going to be Infiltrator with the only hero rifle. It's going to be Dimensional Drift online to try and get that information right off the bat, but NV FlyQuest are ready for this aggression.
Moves out stretching to the bridge, seeing if he can find somebody waiting in the wings for that opening approach, but it's just too wide. He has to go for the actual walk-on, but he's got a lot of help. Karn's got the first frag, and the rest of NVFQ is walled out by just a couple of clove smokes. Karn not really having to do too much heavy lifting on the fragging side for that opening of the post plant, but now a lot resting on her from this backline to help facilitate, especially if that Hunter's Fury can catch so much damage in the long haul. Poppin, given free access to just walk down a tiny bit, and that kill contract is going to catch even more. Meanwhile, Extra controlling Heaven, and it's another rundown from Envy's fraggers. Jazzy getting in on the action as well, but this defensive retake is just looking so damn strong. 9-8 now, the gap closing.
Wowzers. I really got to say, Poppin playing the ISO right now just adds that little bit of questioning, right? Like, adds that little bit of difference that I think is kind of catching Winthropify off guard when it comes to that. This time around, we get to see Poppin kind of run in there, find a kill very early on, but then immediately activate the kill contract to make it so that it's so much more interesting on the actual site, leaving it down to Dodo Nut up against the world. The flood in on these retakes has looked phenomenal from NV FlyQuest. And I know, you know, we were talking about NV FlyQuest being more of the attacking sided team, but well, on this defense, just let Jazzy kind of find those first kills and then really rely on your post-plant retakes because they have been looking stellar so far on this map.
This is the big thing that they wanted to work on, leaving the group stage, that defensive side. And of course, saying it like that, it sounds so oversimplified, but every player understanding all of the minutia that they need to manage. And there's one of them, Karn, immediately deciding to pop that ulti despite it being the chamber that fragged her. There's no one you can chase down, girlfriend. Infiltrator's got to make it work from the cut up mid, and there's minimal time. Ev can quickly react and respond. Now the Spike stands alone. Lexi feels the need to pop the null command as the rest of the team makes the approach on the A site, but it's going to be so damn telegraphed. Hunter's Fury online, though, from Governor, and that's going to cut the rest of the space necessary. Extra watching on top of this Nova Pulse to get an easy access with the Dimensional Drift, and he's got intel on 2 more. Thea given the window to open things up. Is this really going to go back the way of the defenders? Extra the swing, the double up, counter fragged on the moves. Governor spins the block, though, and it's in time when Thropify make double digits at the buzzer.
Oh, you're gonna flank me? How about I flank you? Oh, they're flanking us? Let's flank them right back. What is going on? It's a scramble around the map. An episode of Scooby-Doo just placed on this map. Individual 1v1s, map control being swung back and forth, playing off of all sorts of crazy intel, nobody backing down from their gunfights, and just working around the other team masterfully, bringing it down to a 1v1 scenario, upon which Governor wins that one out just thanks to that positioning. Tour de Force, though, activated for Jazzykins here. His move still has that operator available. There's going to be a lot more pressure onto this mid site this time, but Poppin not afraid at all. Walks through and finds Infiltrator.
Yeah, time to walk it out. The only threat really on the table here is moves his operator, and with that ISO shield, that's not really too much of a problem for him either. Open season until he hears the crowd possibly collecting. And all the meanwhile, Winthropify have to stay neutral. See if Jazzy decides to poke her head out so moves can get the activation and potentially the lurk cell. Just a condition, even. Take what they can get on a round like this.
And finally, we get a moment to breathe from both of these teams, completely swapping up the tempo. You know, trying to catch the other one off guard, trying to catch them slipping. But because so much respect is being played on both of these sides, as quiet as ever. Moobs, though, has a bit of an idea on where Jazzy could be hanging out and already gotten past that sniper rifle line.
Drone's heard, but Moobs swings right with it, and Jazzy finally given an excuse to try and peek this, but she might be a little too late. Thea's got most of it covered. There you go. Easy backstab to finalize. So the gap's been re-lessened. The eco is fully reset now for Winthropify. I don't know if they're going to be able to full buy this round or if they have to wait until next round. It was looking a little dicey, but with the buy like the one that they just had, it was going to be awkward from the get-go.
Man, just give Thea a stinger. I'm convinced that's actually
Yeah,
just how
she's
you win
kind of
this.
destroying with it right now.
Look at this!
Like, God.
Look at this!
That's so good.
It's just so difficult, but this is so important for NV FlyQuest to really just bring it back. Yeah, they're only one round down. Do have the comms, though. Let's hear how Winthrop Shopify are dealing with this.
Okay. Nice. I'm my backside.
Running backside.
Offer dead. One more. Nice try fighting.
Spike down. B.
One more. Close right.
One more, close right.
Close right.
Dead, nice.
I'll grab drop.
Could be spawn already, yep.
Yep.
I'm gonna come post on you guys.
Have Evan.
Seven.
Fighting Evan. So Evan. Let me see.
We
spoken.
Could come out.
16.
They're running.
We broke drone.
Reloading. High flashes.
One out spawn. Keep flash.
Okay, I'm getting a high flash.
He's out.
Oh, wide.
One more.
Nice.
Good job, guys.
I have your ult, guys.
Your ult B split, maybe?
There you go.
Huh?
Your ult B split. I don't even want to overcomplicate. Your ult B split.
That was such a well-managed round by Winthrop Shopify's comms. It's so hard to communicate effectively against a team like NV FlyQuest just because of how fast they are, but you see how they minimalize their own side of things of just understanding when threats exit, where exactly they are, and understanding that every player has the individual intuition to respond properly to those threats as they make their way onto the field. It's tough, it's tight, it's close, but I bet it's hella fun for these guys.
And you know what? All I'm saying, Thea didn't really have a stinger that time around.
That's so
been
fair,
a different
dude.
story if it was the other way around. All I'm
starting
saying.
to become a trend, dude. Yeah, starting to notice a
Get
pattern.
the tinfoil hats out here. But no, like, once again, talking about the comms as well, you can kind of see just how chaotic things are kind of getting on these sites. Like, by no means is this easy for either of the teams. It really is just kind of coming down to almost reflex on the sites there. All the communication is clean at least like letting the other people know what is going on, but it really comes down to just that individual performance, knowing what's going on and then positioning yourself in the right area based off of your teammates' callouts. And that really was how Winthrop was able to win that last round. Of course, having the tour de force as well, have moves kind of play in from that high ground, really supporting the team instead of just trying to find an off angle and find a timing, made it so that it was a lot more clearer. But right now, let's see how it goes. Winthrop Shopify 2 rounds away from forcing out that map number 5, and they show no signs of really wanting to let this one slip away from them.
Yeah, they're trying to keep a grip on this for sure. They have a couple ways to do it this round. Alexis 2 away from that null command infiltrator with the dimensional drift off rip. He can scope out a good portion of this site. And instead, he'll portal through mid. Find the less immediate threats that'll have to meet the off angles. And then he'll take that high ground, make sure that Jazzy is over-pressured, force the double out. That's a beautiful site takeover off the Yoru ulti. Infiltrator doing his job and then some.
Yeah, great job here. Exeter, though,
Spike
maybe
planted.
moving up to try and add a little bit of disruption, but actually the call gets made from NV FlyQuest. They're going to be backing off here, which is so interesting, but given the state of their economy, they don't really have that much to kind of work off of, so they will have to just kind of go for this save. But once again, I think it was just such a good job from Winthropify to be able to dismantle how NV FlyQuest like to save themselves off. Infiltrator alone forces out the TP, forces them to retreat to open up the site, but then you know NV FlyQuest are like, well, we just can't give this one up for free. We have to make it so that it's a painful take. And anytime they went in, they were surprised at all of the members of Winthrop Shopify who were already made their way onto the site. And it was just simply off of Infiltrator's dimensional drift. So an excellent round coming through from Winthropify. And now they just need that one last round to try and pull out map number 5 in this series.
Point.
And they do have an in for their rhythm control this round now that Lexi has farmed up that null command. But it will be a more predictable pack fight for the side of NVFQ, who themselves have the kill contract as well as, oh God, they had one other. They had the Cosmic Divide as well. So they have ways of kind of spinning either side of the plant this upcoming round. And it's clear that, you know, them playing from 9 to 12, they do see the roadmap. It's just got to be exacted. And so much of it is going to come off of this first fight that they can stop. If they can shut this down now, then the ult cycle's pretty much gone for the remainder of regulation. And Lexi, frontline, down already. Jazzy, right-clicks with these Bulldog, is going to do a lot of chip damage. But in the meantime, WUSR still makes their way on. Poppin spraying through the crowd. Extra doing a lot of the legwork himself. And it is that pack watch that comes calling. Reduces this to a 2v apiece. Moobs, cut his way through mid. Thea, not prepped for it. And that stinger ain't saving her this time. Ev, sandwiched, but not found out just yet. And hearing the link steps will reduce this to a 1v1 lickety split. It's Infiltrator down next. And NVFQ are not out of Abyss just yet. It's 12-10.
Yeah, dragging Winthropify, kicking and screaming through the mud. You want to make this round 5 or map 5 happen, then you're going to have to work every single round to try and make this one happen. But an excellent job coming in here. Jazzy as well, making sure to at least find that single kill, but it really is just kind of extra playing off that off angle, playing off of the information that Poppin was able to kind of secure based off of the amount of bullets that kind of flew through. But then this is where I think things started to fall apart. When Thropify thought they had the advantage, thought that they could do there without knowing where Ev was going to be on the map. And that ended up being their fatal flaw in that last round. The recon bolt flying all the way across here, but this time it's nice and subdued from Winthropify as they get ready for an A-site hit. One that has been pretty unsuccessful every single time they've tried to push in.
I applaud the decoy that was thrown up by Infiltrator that really threw off the defensive rotation, moves quick upstairs, and is able to avoid the fire from Poppin, who will activate that shield to try to take fight number 2, but Governor has taken a hellish angle to reduce him down to 5 HP. It's got to be the contract to reset that second double tap, and he's got another fight locked in. This time Infiltrator falls. Poppin, infinite attempts to get himself back inside this as the spike falls. Moves next point of contact. Shield doesn't care. Envy's duelist reigns supreme. The Cosmic Divide to cut this down, and Alexis stands alone against 2 more after already wiping 2 off the board. Has to dance with this divide, 1 on each side. Cross in, Joe's Jazzy on the spike. Can hold this all she wants to, but she won't. Thea, alone in the 1v1. Alexis! 4 for her, and 4 for us deep into this. We are taking the Spotlight Series finals all the friggin' way.
I don't even know what I saw there. First of all, I didn't realize that if you go into the kill contract, you can even things out completely because, yeah, Poppin goes in there 5 HP.
Yeah, you reset that health, you reset the shield. Yeah. He gets infinite tries, dude.
Like, it's just like, oh my god, yeah, that's a great use of the kill contract there. Secures a kill, and then it's all up to Alexis. You can tell the speed, the ferocity that NV Flycast were moving in onto the site was just handled well by